The moon is calling us. And no, it's not a prank call. The moon has secrets to share, resources to offer, and challenges to overcome. It's the hottest spot in space right now. But what's behind this recent interest in the moon, and why should you care? Keep watching. The moon is that big shiny thing in the sky that we can't stop staring at like a bunch of lovers. But lately the moon has become more than just a pretty face. It's also become a target for all kinds of crazy schemes, from science experiments to space tourism. Because why not mess with the thing that gives us tides and eclipses? That seems to be the question that drives some people to visit and explore the moon, and they have some bold plans to achieve their dream. As you may already know, NASA has an ambitious plan to send humans back to the moon by 2024. This is part of their famous Artemis program, which will change everything about our future in space. But before we get into the details of this amazing project, let me remind you that NASA is not the only one who has a crush on the moon. There are other countries and private companies who are eyeing the moon and have their own ideas and projects to explore it. Recently, we discussed in a video how Russia and India were racing to land their spacecrafts on the moon first. Well, Russia did it first, but there was a slight problem. Their lander, Lunar 25, crashed into pieces on impact. India, on the other hand, successfully landed their rover, Chandrayaan 3, on the lunar surface without any damage. I think landing in one piece is more important, don't you? So the winner is India. Congratulations, India! You showed us how it's done. So what's the big deal about the moon? Why are countries suddenly obsessed with it? Well, there are several reasons, and they can be divided into three main categories: discovering new stuff, making money, and inspiration for a new generation. But still, let's look at some of these categories in more detail. One of the main reasons why we want to go back to the moon is discovery. The moon is a goldmine of scientific data that can help us figure out the history of our solar system, the origin of life on Earth, and even the secrets of the universe. And let me tell you, the moon's South Pole region is a prime location for discovery, as it holds many mysteries and surprises. We want to explore this region, which has many craters that never see the sun. These craters may contain water ice, which is not only a potential resource for future lunar missions, but also a clue to how water and other volatiles were delivered to the inner solar system billions of years ago. And practically, it can also provide a source of water, oxygen, and hydrogen for future lunar explorers and settlers. But you may be wondering how we know all this. Well, it's not because we have a secret spy satellite that watches every move of our lunar neighbor. Actually, we might have one, but it's also we have sent some brave and smart people to the moon in the past, and they brought back some souvenirs for us. Well, if you don't believe that, you won't like what's coming next. These people were part of the Apollo program, which was the coolest thing that ever happened in the history of humanity. I told you. Between 1969 and 1972, they landed 12 humans on the moon and collected 382 kilograms, or about 842 pounds, of rocks and dirt. That's like the weight of a medium-sized Dilophosaurus dinosaur. Yeah, I love Jurassic Park. Anyway, these rocks and dirt have been studied by scientists all over the world, and they've told us amazing things about how the moon was born and how it changed over time. The second reason for going to the moon is economic opportunity. The moon has tons of stuff that we can use for all kinds of things, like making electricity, building spaceships, and blowing stuff up. One of the most awesome things on the moon is helium-3, which is like helium but with an extra neutron. Helium-3 is super rare on Earth, but super common on the moon, thanks to the sun spitting it out all the time. Some scientists say that 1 ton of helium-3 could power a city of 10 million people, about half the population of New York, for a year. That's a lot of energy, or should I say money? Let's say both. So, what are we waiting for? Actually, we're not waiting anymore. There are a lot of countries that want a piece of the lunar pie and are making progress towards this goal. But none of them can match the awesomeness of the Artemis program. As I mentioned earlier, this program has the potential to change everything. Let me explain why. The Artemis program is not just a quick hop to the moon and back, it's a grand plan to build a space base on the moon and use it as a springboard for future trips to Mars and beyond. But how? First of all, the Artemis program is organized around a series of Space Launch System, or SLS, missions, each with a different goal and destination. The SLS rocket is the most powerful rocket ever built by NASA. It will carry the Orion spacecraft, which can fit up to 4 astronauts and protect them from the dangers of deep space. Once they reach the moon, the Orion spacecraft will park at the Gateway, which is a small space station that will serve as a hub for lunar exploration. The Gateway will have modules for living and working, as well as docking ports for other spacecrafts. It will also have a solar electric propulsion system that can change its orbit around the Moon. From the gateway, the astronauts will dock with a new landing system that can carry more people and equipment than ever before. The Artemis program will make history by landing the first woman and the first person of color on the Moon, as well as establishing an Artemis base camp on the lunar surface. The astronauts will explore new areas of the Moon using cool gadgets like rovers, suits, and habitats. They'll also conduct scientific experiments and collect lunar samples. But the Artemis program is not the only way that NASA plans to use the Moon for scientific discovery. There's also another ambitious project that aims to build a giant radio telescope on the far side of the Moon. The project is called the Lunar Crater Radio Telescope, or LCRT. It involves using robots to deploy a huge wire mesh inside a giant lunar crater. The wire mesh would act as a mirror that can catch radio waves from space and amplify them for analysis. And it could revolutionize our understanding of cosmology and astrophysics. The LCRT would have many benefits over Earth-based or Earth-orbiting radio telescopes, such as being able to observe the universe at wavelengths that are blocked by Earth's atmosphere and are mostly unknown to humans. The LCRT would also be free from radio noises and interferences from Earth-based sources, satellites, and the Sun. The LCRT could enable amazing scientific discoveries in the field of cosmology by observing the early universe in a wavelength band that has not been explored by humans till date. The LCRT could also study things like exoplanets, pulsars, fast radio bursts, and even look for signs of alien life. However, building and operating such massive and complex systems on the Moon is not a simple task. It's going to take a lot of time, money, and technology. But hey, we have some amazing tools and strategies to make it happen. For example, we have the Moon itself. The Moon has a lower gravity and no atmosphere, which makes it easier and cheaper to launch rockets from there than from Earth. This could enable us to send more missions to other planets and asteroids and make it easier to build a space station or a colony in orbit around the Moon. The Moon could also serve as a refueling station, where rockets could replenish their propellant from the lunar resources. But wait a second, there's something that confuses me about all this. What if countries want to make some bucks from the Moon? Huh? Well, good luck with that. It's not like you can just hop on a rocket and start mining or farming or whatever. There are a lot of things to consider, such as how much it will cost to get you there and back, what kind of technology you'll need, how much demand there is for your products, and who will sue you for messing with the Moon. Yeah, that's right. Some people think the Moon is sacred and should be left alone. Others think the Moon is a treasure trove for humanity and should be shared by all. Who's right? Who knows? Who cares? Well, I do care. Let's just hope that the people who oversee the Moon don't mess it up for the rest of us. So what do you think? Should we leave the Moon alone or exploit it for our benefit? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more awesome videos about space. And if you want to check out that video about India's Moon mission and space program, click here. Thanks for watching.